What are the top issues for you as a voter heading into the November 8th election, as we've got early voting starting in just 1 week's time? You'll be able to go to the polls at the county clerk's office and cast your ballot. What are the top issues? I'm curious. This is not an official poll of sorts. I'm not going to ask you your name or where you work or anything like that. But I want to hear from you at 217-629-7970. That's the phone number about whether or not you're going to vote and what are the top issues you're going to the polls over. Again, we've got so many things going on from the national politics, the international politics. You'll be able to choose who you want for U.S. Senator, either Tammy Duckworth or Kathy Salvi. I've also got a Libertarian candidate, I believe. But down ballot, you've got the governor's race with the candidates there, but you've also got state house races. All of these things you're going to have to consider. Are you just voting party line? Are you just going to fall into I'm with Team Blue or I'm with Team Red? Is that really where our politics has gotten? Or are you looking at the issues? What are those issues that are most important to you heading into the election, especially with early voting starting in just 1 week's time? Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Morning, Greg.
Hey.
So my big thing, especially for states, is are you for the Safety Act? And the bigger reason is why. And if you are, and all the reasons why just basically proves to me how dumb they are. That, we are wanting criminals to go out and be free without bail. So, and if they're all for it, then I'm not going to vote for them.
So you're saying that the Safety Act is the chief concern for you. Is it more about crime and punishment, or is it about that particular bill?
It's about that particular bill. It's about letting, and I understand some of the logistics of the bill that, that the DA can make the calls, but being able to not, have a bail for someone who is charged with second-degree murder or kidnapping or, domestic abuse is not a good way to go about anything.
Well, and just to clarify things, I think prosecutors, the local district attorneys, the state's attorneys, they have 48 hours to build a case as to why somebody needs to be kept behind bars pending trial. Keep in mind, these are individuals who are innocent until proven guilty, and they have yet to have their time in court. So the thinking is that they shouldn't be burdened with bail if they're innocent until proven guilty and so on. But a judge ultimately does have that discretion. But you might see some very liberal judges in some places. You might see some very conservative judges in other places. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's ultimately implemented. But I've heard from prosecutors that don't like this 48-hour provision that they have to be able to prove that somebody's a threat to the community or to a specific person. They say that that's tying their hands.
And even if they are arrested, they have 24 hours. So basically, in my mind, you have 48 hours to build a case, but you won't really only have 24 hours until they're free to go, correct?
Yeah, I got to dig into the particulars of the time frame there, but I do want to find out if there's other issues concerning voters as we get ready to head to the polls. But I got you down for the Safety Act being top of mind, 217-629-7970. That's the phone number. I want to hear from you out there. We got early voting starting in 1 week's time, and that means you have the opportunity to go and cast your ballot. What do you think? What are the top issues you're facing? We heard somebody talking about the Safety Act, crime and punishment. What about taxation? What about corruption? What about education? What about you tell me. 217-629-7970. Are you somebody that's just looking at everything as a whole, and you're not necessarily a one-issue voter? I know that Democrats are really making access to abortion a key election issue. Is that going to be enough to give them the votes heading into the election? And that's going to get a lot of people who are single issue voters just focused on the issue of abortion. I imagine that they're going to definitely head to the polls and focus just on that issue. But is that the most holistic approach that voters should take? So I want to hear from you. What are the top issues for you heading into the election? You've got 1 week before early voting starts, and the November 8th election, if you're somebody who goes to the polls, that's just around the corner. So what are some of the top things concerning you when it comes to the election, when it comes to who you pay for to represent you? You don't work for anybody. They work for you. All right. They are your servants, your public servants. What are the main things that you are hoping that they address if they get into office? 217-629-7970. That's the phone number here. Now, I know that's one thing that may not have been top of mind 4 years ago, but could be very much top of mind for a lot of people out there. COVID-19 and the mandates. Is that something you're going to be thinking about going into the election? Are you going to be thinking about how Democrats at the State House allowed the governor, and still to this day are allowing the governor, to issue disaster proclamations saying that Illinois is a disaster area because of COVID-19? It was March of 2020 when the governor issued his first orders, and that shut down restaurants. He shut down schools. And for month after month after month after month, now well over 2.5 years now, he's still got executive orders in place. He's still got a disaster proclamation in place for COVID-19. Is that something you're thinking about heading into the election? And Democrats at the State House who were completely hands off and not willing to challenge the executive branch, and saying that, no, we need to have conversations about how we managed this. Is that something you're thinking about heading into the election? Again, 217-629-7970. That's the phone number here with Springfield's Morning News. You can also email me, bishoponair@gmail.com, or you can message me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you can find me. I'll definitely read your thoughts. But we'll touch on this again in the days and weeks ahead as to what you think are the top issues heading into the November election, given that early voting starts 1 week from today. You'll be able to go to the county clerk's office and cast your ballot. Are you going to do that? You're just going to wipe your hands of it and be like, I'm done. I'm done. Or are you somebody that wants to wait for whatever possible October surprise there may be? And what are those major issues? The economy, taxation, education, crime and punishment. Are you concerned about immigration from a national perspective, which is no longer a national perspective? I think that we could safely say that the way we've seen migrants crossing the border illegally being bused across the country, not just by governors, but also by President Joe Biden. He did the same thing in the cover of night, and you didn't hear people freaking out about it. You heard some people freaking out about it, but not those who are freaking out about it now. We've had that situation essentially making every state a border state. So is immigration top of mind for you? Is abortion your go-to issue? Is corruption in Illinois top of mind? What about COVID-19 mitigations and the heavy hand of executive orders and the impacts of that? Poor education outcomes over the past 2 years. An economy that still has not completely bounced back to pre-pandemic levels in Illinois. Elsewhere it has, but not in Illinois. We are still a state that has executive orders in place. They may be winding down, but still have those executive orders in place. We had some of the most strict executive orders lasting among the longest of all states. So what are the main things that you're thinking about heading into the election? Be sure to email me, bishoponair@gmail.com, or you can message me via Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just search Bishop on